I'll just give it a minute. Once you're here, just say hi. So excited for today's live because we have a very special guest, and I'm one of her biggest fans. I love Parker Graye. Just to give you a brief, her name is Parker Graye. She's a Canadian country singer-songwriter, and she's amazing, guys. She's amazing. If you are a sucker for sad songs just like me, Parker is your artist. So I'll just give it a minute so that people can hop in. Her latest release last time just got released last week. It's been a week, so make sure to check it out. It's doing amazing. Where are you guys tuning in from? I'll just add Parker.
Good morning.
Yay!
Good night.
I am so freaking excited to talk to you. You have no idea. I've been a huge fan of you since DoOver. So it's amazing to have you on. Welcome to India.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel so blessed. It's so funny that like how the world works this way. Like the internet is so crazy, but I'm so blessed and thank you for taking time to have me on. Like it means so much.
Of course. Of course. There was no way I was not going to have you on. So before I get into your music, your amazing music, I want you to introduce yourself for people tuning in from here, give a little backstory where you came from and all that stuff.
Yeah, cool. So my name's Parker Graye. I'm a country singer-songwriter based out of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I'm originally from a small town north of Toronto, Ontario. I've been making music since I was a kid, in my bedroom mostly, and like singing into hairbrushes. But I released my first single back in September and second one in January, and we just released last time. And I'm just a sucker for sad songs and making people feel stuff. So that's kind of the short about me.
That is amazing. Okay, how did you get into music? Like, was there a defining moment where you wanted to take this seriously? This is what I want to do. Was there a moment?
That's a great question. Not really. Like I'm trying to think. Like I grew up performing all the time, like in my parents' basement, and like I was a dancer and I was on stage and I did all these things, but I never really knew because of the time, like it was years and years and years ago. Being an artist, like we had pop superstars, like it was the Christina Aguilera's, the Shania Twain's, the Celine Dion's, like the big people who you had no idea how they got there. And so I never knew the path of like where I was going to go and how I was going to make it happen. But when I was in high school, I was in this computer class and my school had just renovated and they had a studio put in, and I was like, what is this for? Like, we don't have a music, like that big of a music production program. Like, this is crazy. And so my computer teacher, between me and this one other gentleman who played guitar, he was like, if you guys write a song, that can be your final grade. And I was like, what?
Wow.
Okay. So we did that, and I think that was like the first song I'd ever really written, top to bottom. And then it's always been in the back of my mind, and I've like been in the snowboarding industry, like being a competitive snowboarder for a while. Like there's all these other things that I've done, but the backbone of a lot of it was like I was always listening to music. I was always singing songs. I was always like wanting to be a performer, but I didn't know how to do it. And then I finally just moved to Vancouver and met some incredible people who kind of put me on the right path. So I think it's always like, I think when you're an artist, I think anybody's passion, like, you know, deep down in your heart of hearts, there's something that you truly want to be. If that's a dentist, a lawyer, a teacher, or garbage man, whatever it is for you, like, you know that that's your calling. And it's just been a challenge to find my way, but I think we're on it now, finally.
You definitely are, and I'm so glad you found your way. I am a huge fan. So, are your parents into music? Are they musically inclined?
Like,
No?
so far from. My mother couldn't hold a tune if her life depended on it. My dad, like even when I was on the phone with my dad this morning, I was explaining to him stuff about streams and plays and music platforms. He has no clue. And it was
That
actually,
is so crazy.
right? It was actually my aunt who passed away when I was in high school. She and her kids were very musically inclined. And she always kind of pushed me to try. And I don't know how it happened. Like, I can't be like, oh, yeah, my aunt taught me to sing this thing, and then that changed everything. But she was kind of the one. And funny enough, I was writing my bio for this release. And I was like talking about my aunt and how she inspired me to do music and like push. And I was like, when did she pass away? Because I was so young that I just like didn't remember. June 17th. And what's crazy about that is the song would have technically gone live June 17th, 11:59. And I was like, that's a blessing. Like, if that's not,
Oh my God.
you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those crazy universe things that you're like, that is so cool. So it almost felt like a nod from her from up in heaven being like, hey kid, we see you. So, but she pushed me quite a bit, but my parents are not inclined at all.
That is amazing. I mean, you talking about your aunt just gave me goosebumps. I could like feel that. That is crazy.
When I put those pieces together, I was like, that's wild. Like, and I just love that so much, and she means so much to me, and it's unfortunate she's not here to see this, but yeah, crazy times, so crazy.
I love
Hi,
that.
everybody
Okay.
tuning in, by the way. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
We love you.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. And if you have questions for Parker, do drop them in, and we'll get to a few of them. Think wild, guys. Think wild. We'll let Parker spill the beans here. Okay, how did you get into country music? Like growing up, were you listening to this kind of music, or how did you discover country music?
Yeah, so being in a small town, country music was always there. My family had a farm, and we spent a lot of time on the farm, and we kind of just always were listening to it. But I was really inspired by Shania Twain because she was from a place very close to where I'm from, and I just loved her sass and her grit, and like there was something so cool about what she was doing, but it was just like on the radio. And then like I'd listened to stuff once like Napster and LimeWire became a thing, which is dating myself, but I was downloading everything. But yeah, I think it was just radio, like old school radio, and just like people are, honestly.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, how would you describe yourself as an artist?
Oof. Sad girl.
Sadie for the baddies.
Daddy for the baddies. Okay, so that is, I said that so randomly, and I don't remember in what interview, and I'm like, that is money. I need to make merch. Don't anybody take that idea. Sadie for the baddies. I would say I'm very, I balance the line between like pop conversational lyrics and like poetic storytelling. Like I have a thing for artists like Dermot Kennedy and JP Sachs and Kevin Garrett, like in the pop scene, who tell these really interesting stories, and especially Dermot Kennedy. He has a beautiful, eloquent way of saying things that you're like, how is that in a song?
True.
And Graye, who actually co-wrote Last Time with me, is very similar to him in that regard, and has opened for him a couple times. And there's just this beautiful eloquence about poetry, and I think when we can bring these visuals and bring these concepts that you wouldn't typically hear in a song, I find it to be really cool. So it's kind of, it's like this very weird dichotomy between very conversational and poppy to poetic. But honestly, just sad. I think like sad is like the one most encompassing word for me as a human being.
I love that. I love that. Hey, and I'm not ashamed. I'm sad too. I love being sad. I love feeling.
Someone the other day, they're like, you know, you might be less sad if you just didn't listen to sad songs all the time. I'm like, don't you dare. Don't you dare.
You don't get that feeling. You don't get that feeling.
No.
Okay, coming to your releases, like I want to know the story behind all three singles. I've been a fan of you, like I said, since Duo released. I don't know how I discovered you, but thank God I did. So can you give us like a little backstory how DoOver started and how the songwriting process began?
Yeah, that's a really cool question, actually, because the story behind how DoOver even came is a little weird. So I used to do these like lyric A/B tests on my Instagram stories because I had a really hard time in my songwriting journey committing to a lyric, and I would be like,
Mm-hmm.
stupid. I don't like how this sounds, and I was always really hooked on whatever I was writing. The story had to be exactly as is, which we all know, like it doesn't have to be that way. Like it's more universal when it's like the details aren't so specific. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was doing these tests on Instagram, and I would set a timer for like 5 minutes, and I had to write a lyric, post it on Instagram, and like make it pretty. Like it had to be like nice looking. And one of the ones I did was DoOver, and it was like call it a do-over, pick up and start again. And like the lyrics were different, obviously, at the time, but at the time I was recording pop music, and John Strandell, who
Wow.
over saw that I was doing stuff, and he was like, we should write some time. And I was like, cool. And he asked me about the lyrics that I'd been posting, and he's like, can you send me some of those lyrics? And I was like, sure. And he was like, what was the one about a do-over? And so we took that lyric and we started like working with it that way. And the reason why I post them on Instagram for a testing purpose was to see what ones would resonate. And it was like if somebody said like, oh, that made me cry, or oh, my feelings, I would
Mm-hmm.
to a folder and like stack them away for a session, and then I could pull with those because they'd already had a bit of a reaction. Um,
Wow.
so John, myself, and Logan Miller started out on a write, and it was like November 2017, and we wrote DoOver. And I was sitting on my couch back here, and they were in St. Louis, Missouri, and we wrote it. And it was the guy that DoOver, Before You Leave, and Last Time are all about the same guy. And I was in an in and out toxic relationship. We were just him chasing me chasing him, like that constant push pull, and there was no sense of balance or peace.
Mm-hmm.
It was very chaotic. So that's how DoOver happened. And then Before You Leave, I wrote when in a town with my friend Marcus Ramsey, who lives here on the West Coast, and he and I sat down in a session, and I was like, I'm dating this guy, and there's just so many things he's not telling me, and there's so many things I wish he'd say. Like, I want to hear I love you. I want to hear you're pretty. I want to hear all these compliments. And I know all of this is ending. Like, I know it's coming to an end. I can feel it. I was like, I just want to hear those things before it's over. So
Oh my
all the
God.
things you never said to me before you leave. And
Oh my God.
right? Like it's just it was heartbreaking. And like I loved this man more than I can even explain. Like I thought this was the guy. I was like, I'm getting married,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna have a farm, I'm gonna live in the prairies, it's gonna be unreal. And then he just made promises he couldn't keep, and unfortunately there were other people in the picture. And he told me, I had kind of seen conversations that were going on time and time again. I was a bit of a fool to like fall for it. And then there was one last time before he left, and something had happened, and I said, last time's the last time. This is it. It wasn't the last time because then we broke up because it happened again, and a girl DM'd me
Mm-hmm.
with like screenshots of conversations from months. And I was like, okay. And I said to him when we broke up, I was like, last time was the last time. So we're done. And I had pictured this beautiful life and us to be together and all these things. And that's what last time is about. It's about losing somebody. It's about dreaming of a life that you've been like kind of making up in your head, and it not being a thing, and that person not being able to follow through and keep promises. So all three of those songs, if you listen from top to bottom, it's
I
the
did that.
story. And I didn't intentionally do that. It wasn't the plan. It
Mm.
kind of organically happened that way. So, and last time I was never going to release because it was so personal and so raw, and I figured I would just let it sit in a computer somewhere, and it would just be a thing that I did that I really loved. But people started to really attach to it when I'd like play it for other people, and they're like, we want this song, we want the sad one. So you got it, people. You got it. It's all yours now.
I am so glad you released that. I mean, I'm so sorry you went through all that.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for sharing all that. It's
Yeah.
like so personal. And when people listen to the songs now, they can actually like know what actually happened. And that's crazy. So thank you so much for opening up.
Of course. Yeah. I love to be honest. And I think that that's something about storytelling and songwriting that's a gift, is if you can be honest and if you can really share and be open, I think songs resonate that much more. So
That is true. I love that. I love
trying to make you guys cry.
You're doing a pretty good, damn good job in that.
Yes.
Okay, how did you choose that DoOver was gonna be your debut single? Like choosing a debut single is like a big deal. So how did you know that was gonna be the first one?
Oh, in full transparency, I had no other songs. I had
Wow.
I had pop music. I had no country.
Mm-hmm.
And that was that song was really truly the catalyst to me myself into country. I didn't have one other song. And when I went to Nashville to record it, it was probably November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. It was almost like 6 months later that I had written Before You Leave. Like it was the way that everything kind of happened. Like I didn't have anything else. I didn't have anything ready. And now since then, I think I've written like over 200 songs, because now I'm like, I just want to write songs. That's all I want to do on top of singing.
Yes.
But
keep doing you.
there wasn't a choice. And we also knew what this song was, and we thought that like this would be a great song to come out with. It's traditional country, it's storytelling. Yeah.
True.
It wasn't a selection. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that one. I didn't have 400 songs from.
That is crazy to know. And did you ever consider like pushing the release, given the circumstances? Like everything was shutting down, everybody were going crazy. So did you consider pushing the release, or did you just say, okay, let's just do this?
I thought about it, but there's that weird thing, right? It's like either people are going to be more online because that's their choice and they want to listen to music. Some would say, I think statistically it was like the worst year for music because people like didn't really want to listen. I don't know. I've just heard that in the grapevine, but I contemplated it. But I had sat on the songs for so long, even when I released it, even when I released DoOver, it'd been done for months, like so long.
Wow.
I mean, I recorded that in September of 2019, and it came out.
Oh my God.
I think, yeah. And then it came out almost like a year later.
Year later.
Yeah, I thought about it, but at the same time, it's like, just go. Like, let's just get this thing moving. And because of the pandemic, too, like, when I released Before You Leave in January, I had the time. Like, I had the time to do the PR and do the press and do all the things that I needed to do to get it ready and get it out there. So I thought about it, but time's a ticking, like you want to be out there, you want to do the thing. So here we are.
That is a good move. Okay, so we have 3 singles out now. So what are we looking when we expect? What can we expect with future releases? Do you have an EP planned, or are you sticking with the singles? What's your plan?
So I'm probably hitting the studio in September, late September. Working on an EP, which is so exciting. But yeah, so that'll be coming out hopefully in the fall. I'm hoping in the fall, but that's coming. So I'm really excited to share that. It's probably going to be sad because I'm on a mission to make country music sad again. Sorry, everybody who wants a banger track. Don't have that for you. No Florida Georgia line, bro country. Sorry, fam. I love it, but not happening. Yeah, and honestly, like this is half part of your question, but like, holy moly, I
Mhm.
just want to go play shows. Like,
Yes.
that's what I'm really hoping for. Like, the EP is gonna be great, but I'm really excited to like get out in the world and meet folks and get to play my music on stage. Like, man, I just live music. Let's go, baby.
Yes.
And then I can come to India.
Oh, please, yes.
Imagine how cool that would be. Oh, that'd be so rad. You would be my number
We
one
would love to have you here.
only person that shows up, but that is fine.
Hell no! I'll make sure the whole thing is sold out.
Counting on it.
We have a deal.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, talking about touring, have you toured since the pandemic? Have you played any shows?
I've done literally nothing. Like, we did a show in March for there's a
Mm-hmm.
country music breakthrough project, and it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of a like semi competition showcase, but I was in that, and that was like my first show coming out as Parker Graye and like doing the thing, and then we got shut down like literally a week later. So I haven't been able to play anything, and so I'm starting to rehearse pretty soon and like get a
Mm-hmm.
live show together. And now that I have more songs too to work with, but I'm dying. I want to be on the road so bad. Uh,
Do you have like a bucket list venue to perform at?
Not yet. I mean, I just want to play every bar in Nashville. Like, I want to go down the list and like check it off. I would really love to play a show in my hometown, Aurelia, Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to do that. I would love to play Boots and Hearts, if you've heard of that. Have you heard of Boots and Hearts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Okay,
have.
so I would love to play Boots because that's also very, very close to where I'm from. Um, and I like honestly, Calgary Stampede would be cool. Like I think it's more like the festival circuit more than anything. Like Troubadour and stuff, and some of those other places are amazing and iconic. But
Mm-hmm.
I just want to play festivals because it's such a vibe. Ah,
For
I
sure.
can't wait. I can't. You're getting me so jazzed, and it's not even gonna happen anytime soon. But I'm here. I'm ready when it is.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. And US is opening up, right? So hopefully you get to go there
Yeah,
sometime soon.
I'm gonna head to Nashville in probably August for a bit and
Mm-hmm.
writing before I go into studio. But I can't wait to be there. I miss Nashville so much. Have you been?
No, I haven't been to Nashville. I've been to the US. I've been only to the West Coast, but
For
I haven't
real?
been to Nashville.
Girl,
Yeah,
Nashville, you would melt. Like it is the most It's like Disneyland for country people. Like it's
I know.
you have
I keep telling my folks that the day I land in Nashville, I'm definitely gonna cry.
good grief. I did. I remember the first time I was on Broadway, which like some people be like, oh, Broadway is just like kitschy and it's like the bar scene. I was like, there's live music everywhere. Like I was like so excited. Oh, it's the yeah. You got one day, girl. You gotta go because you wouldn't
For
go home.
sure.
You'd just be like, I'm staying. I'm here forever.
Yeah, hopefully they let me stay there longer than I should.
I'm for it.
Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan.
Good.
Okay, do you have like a favorite artist you want to tour with?
Oh, that's such a hard question. How dare you? Um, who do I want to tour with? I have a very soft spot for Tyler Childers. I would
Oh my God. Yes.
I would love to tour with like Cam or Caitlin Smith, Maren Morris. Honestly, I would tour with anyone. Who wants to take me with you? Yeah, I don't know. I have this like weird like balance. Like I was telling you before about the poetry versus the pop, and like so Tyler Childers sits on that poetry side, and then
Mm-hmm.
like the Mary
Mm-hmm.
and the Cams and the Caitlin Smiths that sit on that side. It would be cool to just do a tour with them all. It would never make sense, but let's all just come together, fam, and we'll do this. But probably those
For
guys
sure.
those ones that come to mind like first off. But I bet you I'm gonna like hang up from you and be like down the list.
For sure. That'll be amazing. Okay, do you have like a favorite memory on tour? Anything that happened on tour?
No, Nothing, because I haven't really been on
Huh? Oh, okay.
a show. I have a favorite moment from my show in
Mm-hmm.
March though. Like when I played
Mm-hmm.
last time, because I put it in a
Mm-hmm.
set with just like an electric guitar and the vocal. And at first I was like so nervous because the room went like dead silent. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I made a bad choice. Why did I play a sad song in like a banging set?
Oh,
Like,
then.
because I was playing like My Church by Maren Morris. Like, I had like Uplift, like Before You Leave is kind of bangy. And I played last time, and it was like you could hear a pin drop. And I was like, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. This was a bad call. And then after the fact, what I realized was like everyone in that room was just like it made them feel something and it took them to a place. And when I looked at social,
Wow.
the song that was like people had recorded and shared the most. So that moment for me
Mm-hmm.
is like one of those things where I'm like,
Wow.
this is why I want to do what I do. Like this is the reason behind all this. So that was so cool. I'm waiting for the day that like people sing along to my songs while
Yes,
I
I
sing.
will be there.
Oh, that's what I like can't wait for. I'm really excited to see that. But yeah, no really big memories.
Yeah, I remember like when DoOver came out, I was singing DoOver like on repeat. Like every
Ah,
time I go,
the
I
queen.
was singing that song. It was on repeat in my head, and I was just singing that. I
I'm
remember that so well.
I'm so happy to hear that. That makes me so happy.
I love that. Okay, I want to know a little bit more about your songwriting process. So, what's your process when you sit down for a songwriting session?
So fun fact, I don't write by myself because I'm hopeless.
Mm-hmm.
I'm useless by myself. I'm like, ooh, shiny thing. Like I get so distracted. Or I get really like I put a little too much pressure on myself sometimes and I'll be like, ah, this is stupid, it's not good enough or whatever. But I write a lot with lots of co-writers and it's different all the time. So sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I'll come into a session, sorry, with an idea. Like I'll have a hook line that like I'll be like in the kitchen and I'll be like, ooh, this, and I'll like write it down in my notes. Like the note section in my phone is just like one-liners. And half the time I go into a session like, I don't know what this means, but here you go. So sometimes that, sometimes because I write for other artists too. Sometimes they'll come in with like something that they're going through or experiencing, and they'll be like, hey, like I'm dealing with this, or they thought of a one-liner, and we'll kind of build around that and build the story. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's different all the time. Like I try to write, even if I'm not sitting down in a session, I try to write like what are things that I'm feeling? Like break down an idea. Like, is there a way, like similar? Because Hardy has a way of like flipping the switch on those one-liners, right? So I try to do that a lot and just like kind of, I guess like word work almost and like sit down and be like, can I make water bottle a different, like as an awful example, but like, can I switch the word around in a way to make a cool hook? Um,
Mm-hmm.
Often it's lyrics and melody at the same time. Like I'm not one of those people that can write the whole thing and then apply the melody to it. Hi from Norway, so cool. Um,
Hey.
yeah, it's different all the time. And it depends on the co-writers I'm with because sometimes I do have co-writers who want to write the whole thing and then they want to tweak based off the melody. And sometimes we get a beat and then we're just writing on top of the beat. And we wrote a pop punk song, me and one of my main co-writers, Lydia Sutherland. We both wrote a pop punk song like 5 or 6 months ago and it's coming out for one of these artists. And it's like,
Wow.
you never know how it's going to be and it's different all the time. And I think that's what I kind of like is like, you can go into a session not knowing anything about someone or not knowing anything about
Mm-hmm.
a certain concept or idea. And then all of a sudden you come out and you have this whole new perspective on an idea. And um, everybody's different, but I prefer to kind of do the lyrics and the melody at the same time because when I write, I can hear the sounds, like I can hear what I want it to feel like, and sonically and lyrically, I want it to work together or have like contradicting feelings so that you really get the emotion out. Yeah, it's kind of a bit of everything. It's a mixed bag, I guess.
I love that. Okay, since you said you always co-write, so all these three singles have different co-writers on them,
Yeah.
right? Like, how did you choose this person was gonna be good for this song? Like, how did you take the song and go to the perfect co-writer?
So, DoOver, John and Logan just reached out to me, and we picked off of the lyrics that I put on Instagram. Before You Leave, I didn't even know that's what I was going to write that day with Marcus. I just knew, like, I was going to his house, and we were sitting there chatting, and I was like emotionally unloading my relationship to him, the poor guy. And then I came up with the hook line Before You Leave, like, right away. And then last time I knew it would be like, sorry, I didn't have the hook for last time yet. I knew that I recalled saying that line over and over and over again in my brain, but everybody kind of, like, when you have co-writers, from my experience, you kind of know what people are good at. And Luca is really good at that poetic, beautiful melodic piano. And I kind of knew writing a really sad song with him would land. I didn't know it was going to be last time. I had no idea that that's what that was going to be that day. And truth be told, I almost canceled that session before I went over because I was so sad. I was, like, so emotional and so tired. But I'm so glad I didn't cancel. So, like, me and my co-writer Lydia, we're really known for writing sad songs. So a lot of people are like, hey, like, I want to write this really sad thing. And you kind of get to know your group of people, and you get to know, like, once you've written a lot of songs with folks, you start to understand, like, oh, that guy would be really good for this party song, or that guy would be really good for this, or that girl would be really great for this idea. And often we build ideas around co-writers. Like, we'll know, okay, we'll book a session with that person to finish that idea. It's just about really getting to know your strengths and your, not weaknesses, your places of opportunity. But yeah, that's a long-winded answer. But
I love that. Okay, out of all the 3 songs, like, which one was the hardest to write? Which took the longest and it was the hardest?
Longest to write. We tweaked DoOver a lot. DoOver had a lot of passes. And then a 4th co-writer came in on DoOver at, like, the last second, and she did some tweaks on it. Before You Leave, it was what it was. And I think we wrote Before You Leave very fast, from what I remember. And last time never changed from the day it was written.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah, I think Luca and I might have met one more time just to go over it, but I don't remember. I don't even know if that's true. I might be making that up. They weren't, I would say DoOver might have been, like, the hardest because we spent more time on it. But none of them have been hard. But since then, though, like, we've come up with ideas, and I'm like, this is the hardest idea to write. Like, I've been in a session with one of my co-writers, Craig, for a while, and we've been workshopping a single idea. We've probably already spent 4 hours on it. Like, maybe even more than that. Because we're like, we have this really great hook line. We know it's going to be amazing, but we want to hit it just right. And honestly, if that song ever gets done, which I'm hoping it does, that's going to be the one that I'm like, it took forever. It took forever.
I'll remember that when it comes out. Let me know which song once it comes out.
The one I was talking about. I'll give you the
Yeah. That'll be good. Okay, from the first single, DoOver, till the last time, like, what is the biggest learning experience you had over these few months that you've released music?
Ooh, you're so good at this. You're so good at this. Honestly, 2 things. One, I do all my own PR, I do my own media, I do my own marketing, I do everything myself. And I think for artists coming up, it's so important to understand the business and to understand how things work.
That's so true.
And this release, I think these 3 songs really reminded me of all that. I've been in, like, marketing for big businesses, like, for years and years and years until recently. And it pays off so much to know what it is and, like, what kind of work you have to put in to get the things that you really want. So that's, like, kind of one. I learned so much on all 3 singles, because I did all the PR myself, and it was like I learned new things every time, and I was able to, you know, find different ways to do things and be more productive and more
That's so
efficient. So that was one. And then 2, be your damn self. Because for so long, I mean, like when I was in corporate business world, it was like you kind of had to dim your light a little bit, because you don't
true.
want to be too loud, you don't want to be too sassy, you don't want to say too much. Like you really have to like put on the business hat. And I always kind of
Hmm.
rebelled against that anyways, because I was like, you get what you get. This is it. Get on board or get out. And I think
Yeah.
that me being myself and being honest and raw and genuine has actually been one of the things that's gotten me further with music, because I think it's relatable. We're all humans. Like, we all have similar, like, we're all so different, but we also have similar stories in a lot of ways. We all go through heartbreak. We all go through loss. We all go through change
Hmm.
in life and growing up. And, just like being yourself is so important, and it feels so good. And I think for so long, like when I was doing pop music, it didn't feel like me. Like I didn't feel myself. I felt like I was chasing Billie Eilish and Lorde and Ellie Goulding and like trying to be this cool factor. When
Hmm.
deep down, I'm a nerd. I'm like a complete weirdo who is excited 99.9% of the time if I'm not sleeping, because I'm always tired. Or like you just be you, because nobody else can be you. And it's so like kind of cheesy as it is,
Amen.
so true, right? Like
It's so true. Yeah.
doing what you do, like you have a personality, and it's unique to what to you, and it comes out when you do these interviews, and it's such a game changer. And I think that we overlook just being us so often. um
It's so true.
so that I'd say we got
I
deep.
love that. I love that. I love it. Okay, 5 years from now, where would you want to see yourself?
Ah, touring the world. I want to be touring. I want to be have a couple records out. I want to be, um, I want to be supporting the youth in some way. I think that teenagers. I was a troubled teen for sure, and I want to help out anybody that I can, either getting into the industry or supporting them in some way to like find their career path and whatnot. I just want to be making music, and I want to be writing songs, and I want to be back and forth to Nashville, and
Yes.
talking to people like you about music, and like this is what I want to do. And I hope that I'm fortunate enough to do that for the rest of my life, because this is what really lights me up. And writing songs,
Hmm.
making people feel stuff truly is so special. And like the response from last time has really showed me that like, I do this because I want it to resonate with people, not because I think it's cool. Like, it's truly because I want to help people through things, and I hope that I can continue to do that in 5 years from now.
You definitely will. And people here are already waiting. They're commenting India. So
Yeah,
hopefully
go
you get here. Hopefully you get here soon.
too.
Or I get there soon and watch you
Yeah,
live.
you come to Canada or you come to Nashville. We'll do it up, girl.
For sure. For sure. Okay, what's your favorite pastime? Like, do you have a favorite TV series that you binge watch on? What is it? If you're
Um,
not doing music.
I I grew up snowboarding, and I love snowboarding. I love being in the mountains. And I don't get to go as much as I used to, but I really enjoy that. Um,
Hmm.
I'm a pretty social person, so I love just like being with my friends. I'm not a big TV watcher. I actually get like afraid of getting into a show. However, I did watch Peaky Blinders from top to bottom, and I adore that show, and I can't wait till it starts again. Um, but I'm like such a simpleton. I love fitness. I'm really big into health and wellness. I coach CrossFit. I've been doing it for seven
Wow.
years. So I spend a lot of time at the gym.
Amazing.
Just even because the community is fantastic. I would say those things. I'm trying to be better at drinking water.
Awesome.
So I'm going to say I'm really I love drinking water. Get your H20. Just kidding.
Yes. Drinking water. Yes, and I'm actually binged watched a Canadian show. Have you seen Heartland or have you heard of
Oh,
Heartland?
okay. I've heard of it. I've never watched it, but I heard it's amazing.
Oh my God. I love it. I finished 14 seasons in like 1.5 months.
Oh,
I binged watched that show the whole time.
have you watched Yellowstone?
No, I haven't. It's
I,
not there on our Netflix yet, so I'm just waiting for it to come on.
I was gonna say, I think you would love that. I've only watched like a handful of episodes because of other people. Like,
Mhm.
you need to watch this show. It has cowboys and there's country.
Yes.
Like, okay, I got it.
I think when it came out, like every single country singer was posting about Yellowstone, and that's how I know about that show.
It's
Yeah, I'm just waiting for it to release it here.
yeah, you will be binge watching, I think, because it's pretty beautiful. Like even just the scenery of where they shoot, it looks amazing.
I will
New one.
definitely keep an eye out. Okay, tell us one fun fact about you that nobody knows.
Ooh. One fun fact about me that nobody knows. Oh, I was I was 2 years in a row, I believe. The My hometown is called Aurelia. I was the Aurelia Fall Fair and Agriculture Queen. So I had
Wow.
that. I went around to schools and talked about agriculture in the youth.
Wow. That
I,
is so interesting.
I sat on the back of a float and waved. Yeah, it was like our fall fair and like our 4-H club, which I wasn't involved in 4-H, but I was close to it. It was kind of like a pageant, which is weird, but
That is so crazy. That is amazing.
super weird. But I still have the sashes, and sometimes I pull them out just for a good laugh for everybody. But there's in fact the Aurelia Fall Fair and Agriculture Queen or Ambassador or something. It was super weird.
Wow. Wow. Now I feel honored to have met you virtually.
I did have a tiara, and I thought it was so weird. Like looking back on that point in life, I was like, what was I doing? Why?
That is amazing. I love that. I love that. Okay, before you leave, I want to know.
Well
I want
played.
to know I want to know what's the best advice you've ever received.
Uh, oh, I know. Don't believe everything you think. So
Mm-hmm.
have a tendency to allow our minds to be consumed with negative thoughts and allow our minds to be consumed by the I can'ts or the what ifs. And I'm awful for this. And still to this day, I have to check myself and remind myself that don't believe everything you think. You're capable of everything. You're capable and you're beautiful and you're a good person. And it's like all those things, like we get into such a negative spiral. And I think social media is so great in so many ways and so awful in so many others. And we judge our bodies and we judge our work and we judge all of the things and our quality of life. And you just can't. And you can't believe everything you think. And if it's a negative thought, like address it,
Get
look
rid.
at it, see it, hear it, and move along and like get it out of there, because all of those compounding over time are going to be what stops you from doing the stuff that you really want to do. And I have to like journal it out often and remind myself that like this industry is really hard and sometimes it feels like you're alone, but you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And you just can't believe everything you think. So that was something my mentor told me like years and years and years ago. And it stuck with me ever since. So I would say that.
I love that. Thank you so much, Parker. It was amazing having you on. And would you want to add anything else that I might have missed out or not asked you?
No, but if you have listened to any of my music, please drop me a DM, say hello, stream my music, tell me, I don't know, anything. I want to know about you. So I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, all the things. Come by, say hello. Thank you so much for having me. Honestly,
Of course.
it just means the world, and I'm grateful for people like you, because if you didn't do what you do, we wouldn't have a platform to come talk and share our stories and our music. So I'm forever indebted to you, and I hope that we can meet in real life one day because I just want to give you the biggest hug.
For sure.
So excited.
For sure. And thank you so much. And thank you so much for sharing your story. I truly adore you. And I can't wait for more music and actually come and meet you.
Oh, so soon. Please, universe. I'm putting the vibe down.
Yes. Hopefully soon. I have my toes and fingers crossed.
Okay, well, I hope you have a very wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope we can chat again.
Of course. Yes, definitely. You have a great day.
Bye, y'all. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye. So that was Parker Graye, guys. Go check her music out. If you haven't, you are missing out. She's amazing. She's an amazing singer-songwriter, and her music is incredible. It's available on all streaming platforms. And while you're there, make sure to follow the artist page so that you're up to date with their latest releases. And I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much for everybody who have tuned in and stuck around. So thank you so much. See you soon.